Okay, so understanding notarized documents, that's what we are going to look at briefly, what they are, why they matter, when you need them. And don't worry, there's time for question and answer when I am done with the lecture. So if you have any question, you can drop it in the comments in the comment section so that you would not forget. You can drop it in the comment section and we'll wrap it up. So let's first of all look at who is a notary public. Who is a notary public? So the word notary in the Latin word is called notarius. Not notorious like notorious. It's spelled Notarius, notorious, right? And it simply means, that word notary simply means taking notes, taking note of important, somebody that takes notes of important information, right? So if you look at the word notary, notarious, is taking note of important documents, important recordings, right? And the word public there means that this person serves the public, take notes of important documents for the public, serves the public, and is recognized by law. Anything that is public is recognized by law, is authenticated by law, and it is established by law. So when you put the word together, notary public, an important person that is established by the law, that keeps records, take note of important recording, documents and authenticates important documents for the public that is recognized by law. Now, who appoints a notary public? From inception, the word notary public came from England. Like 99.9% of our laws is still colonized by the British law. So in those days, it was the Pope of the Christian church that appointed the notary public. And for those that were not within the church, England and the rest, the chancellor would be the one to appoint on behalf of the Pope. So if you understand history, you would know that anything that is very important, of high rank, of high profile, of prestige, that is premium, and for the 1% of the 1% class, the elite class, would always be appointed by the Pope, if you know your history very well. So for a pope to appoint a notary public, it means it's a high prestige elite position. And that is why in the guide, I went further to explain that not every lawyer is a notary public. It's not a small thing to be a notary public, right? So now it has moved, now went from the church, there was now delegation of power to appoint notary public. So different countries have different ways to appoint the notary public based on the law. But here in Nigeria, based on the Notary Public Act, the person that appoints the notary public is the Chief Justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not the Chief Judge, not the Chief Judge of a state, the Chief Justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And in every other country, it is the highest body that can appoint a notary public. That's to tell you how relevant and how highly esteemed and honorable the position is. And before we can ever even get appointed, we would be recommended by 10 sitting judge. So I was recommended by 10 sitting judge here in Lagos State. And you don't just walk into a judge office to get recommendation. These are judges that have handled litigation, lawsuits before them. In fact, 6 of the judges asked me the exact cases that I've done before them. I had to give the suit numbers of those cases, and they had to check the archive. Some of those cases I had gotten judgment, some of them were still active in the court. That's to tell you that no judge will just wake up and recommend you, right? And there are some of the judges that were like, I don't want to mention the name of the judge. Like some of the judges I walked into, immediately I mentioned my son, Mukusaja. Madam Mukusaja, because Some of them already knows me. So what I'm just trying to let you know is the process is tough. That is why the position is very important. And that is why you would understand why we go on that any document notarized by a notary public is given higher credibility because of the process of appointment and because of who appoints. So the Chief Justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria appoints a person to be a notary public, and even before you are now sworn in, even before you are now sworn in as a notary public, you even before you are appointed as a notary public or sworn in, there are still processes you have to go through. After you have been appointed, you have gotten your recommendation, your state will do their own process and go back to the Supreme Court. The Chief Registrar of Supreme Court will do their own process. So it's a whole lot, right? What a notary public does. A notary public is not just to stamp document. That is why a lot of you get it wrong, or where a lot of you get it wrong. And I know that it's been bastardized, right, to an extent where if you're going to the Lagos State High Court, Ikeja, you will be hearing people say, affid, and then they'll just carry it, they will enter one place and they will stamp it. That is not how it's supposed to be. The notary public that is stamping your documents, it ought to see you, see the document, ask you questions, and authenticate. And authenticate it. Authenticate you before he notarizes. And I gave so many examples in the guide. Please ensure you read the guide to have better understanding. So what does a notary public do? A notary public authenticates, acknowledges, and helps in proper execution. So I'll give an illustration. I gave that illustration in the guide, but to give more better context, let me explain. So imagine that somebody steals your landed property. Or I hope you know that your land documents can be stolen. It can be counterfeited, right? What do I mean by that? People can make the counterfeit. And I hope you know that somebody can also sign. We have, forensic experts, there is no signature they cannot sign. There are people that there is no signature that they cannot sign. That is something that happens, that I know happens. If you want to forge a signature, there are some people that is their job. You pay them good money, they will sign that signature. So imagine that somebody steals your landed document, drafts a deed of assignment, forges your signature, and now wants to notarize it. Now, the person now goes to the roadside people and they just stamp it. Do you know what that does? It gives extra credibility to the document. Now, a notary public will observe the person signing. So, like I said, I gave an example of the guy that came in with a sponsorship letter and I had to speak with the person. So, number one, I would ask questions. That is why a notary public must be a lawyer, so that the person can follow because the person has knowledge of the law and knows how fraud can be penetrated. So what will I do in that situation? So in that situation, as a notary public, I will authenticate the person's identity. There are certain things I will ask the person to bring, and then I will also ask the person to sign. And it's not just signing. There is an observation that I would do. I can tell you categorically that no matter how somebody is good in signing, if you ask the person to sign more than 3 times, the person will not sign exactly the same thing because it's not the person's original signature, right? And so authentication in that kind of situation is done with a legal process and with documentation. So that means the person is in my office, we are having a video section. When I say a video section, I'm not saying online. If the person is online, we have a video section. If the person is physically in my office, there's a recording Because it's not just bringing an affidavit, it's bringing a deed of assignment to sell off somebody's. So there is a, so ordinarily, that kind of person will not try to come to a notary public that knows what to do, because the person will be caught red-handed. You know, as a notary public, I do not even know that that is not the owner of the property, or that is not the person that sold the property. But because I am doing legal process, the person might even not complete the legal process, or even complete it, and I have evidence, and a case comes up tomorrow, you have good evidence. So imagine that I ask the person to go through all of that, and the person is not able to meet up with my legal requirements. I will not notarize it. What that does is to save that person whose property was about to be stolen from. So there's a lot of things that a notary public does, certifies your original documents and every other thing. More information is passed in the guide. Why does the office exist? Credibility. The office exists to add more credibility to any document. So imagine that you're giving somebody a power of attorney. I have to witness that, and I have to attest to it. So there are different notarization. There is certified true copy, there is just notarization, there is attestation. Attestation simply means I have witnessed it, I authenticate it, and I verify that it is true. To the best of my legal ability, I attest it. So that is why, unfortunately, I don't have my notary public bag here. We have different stamps for different things. And there are some stamps that need me to use my iron seal. There are some that just need me to stamp. There are some that need me to use attestation. The office exists to add more credibility to transaction. The same thing, you're writing a will. A notary public should be there when you are executing your will. Okay? So there's a lot of honorable thing that a notary public. So what does notarization mean? Authenticating. The process of authenticating anything, right? Why documents are notarized, like I said, to add extra credibility to it. Now, you might be wondering, what's not the difference between, I said it in the guide, a lawyer drafting a legal document, putting the MBA seal, and notarizing. So let me tell you the difference. A lawyer drafting will draft and put MBA seal and watch execution, right? If they bring it to me as a notary public to add more credibility to the document, to authenticate it, I will still invite the people, whether online or physically. I will ask questions and I will record the processes. I will ask questions. I will ask them to re-execute in my presence. So once I notarize it, put my seal as a notary public, it is something that is sealed for life. Because if the lawyer got it wrong, the notary public cannot get it wrong. So this is not to say that a document drafted by a lawyer is not valid. It is 100% valid. But a notarized document adds more credibility to it that is unarguable, except you're talking about fraud and you can prove that fraud. And that is why a notary public has to be extremely careful when notarizing documents. Okay? Why? What documents can be notarized? I think I've talked about it earlier. Private document, your will, your trust, your estate, business and corporate documents, all those documents that you're doing your post-incorporation and all of that, property documents, immigration, academic, international documents. Those are the documents that can be notarized. Now, why notarization matter? Prevents fraud. From the example I've given, it should have is self-explanatory. Verifies identity. Remember that I asked that particular client that came in, I needed to do a video call with the sister who could not come to my office because she was at work. I needed to do a video call, ask her certain questions, verify her through her means of identity. Because I told her that if I don't see something that verifies your identity, I would not notarize. You can take it to the roadside Notary Public to stamp it. That's you people's business. But I would not, because you will see our Notary Public seal. You see my Notary Public stamp. It has my full name. It has my Supreme Court number. It has my email address. It must carry my phone number. People don't understand why that is, because the embassy or anybody that you're taking that document to can call to verify if I notarized it. We now have a central Notary Public registry where an embassy can quickly just check my name out. And so imagine that I am notarizing a document without going through the normal process. It is a dent to my image, right? It is something that speaks volume of my honesty as a Notary Public. And you know, any notarized document is recognized anywhere in the world. I can notarize document for you here in Nigeria. You can use it in the UK, in the US, in Canada. And then tomorrow, the government wants to give me an appointment, maybe with the US. And they just remember that, oh, I notarized one fraudulent document. I didn't do my due diligence. So you see why, if a Notary Public knows where he or she is going, the person is extra careful, okay? It confirms execution. So there is nobody that comes to my office for me to notarize a document that I don't ask you to re-sign. You will sign at least 5 times. I need to see that it is really your signature and it is you you're the one that signed it. And that is why you are not supposed to sign a document before you bring it to a Notary Public. Very important, you need to know that. You sign that document in the presence of the Notary Public. It gives greater credibility. A document that is, any document you want to use internationally must be notarized. If it's not notarized, they will not accept it. Even if it's a lawyer that drafted it, they will not accept it. Widely accepted internationally. Okay? So let's go. Why do you need a Notary Public? When do you need a Notary Public, rather? Immigration, I've talked about it, school admissions, international transactions, of those, your international transaction, ensure to notarize the documents, because there are some documents that you cannot admit in the court of another country if it's not notarized. International transactions, property transactions, business agreement, power of attorney, to certify a document. That is when you need a Notary Public. Common misconception about Notary Public, that every lawyer is a Notary Public. I have been a lawyer for over 10 years. I was just sworn in this year, April 20th. I will never forget. One of the best days in my legal career. 20th of April, 2026 was when I was sworn in as a Notary Public for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So it is not every lawyer that is a Notary Public. Just in case you have been stamping documents. And I dare to say that there are a lot of identity thefts or thieves outside. I have been on my Notary Public journey for over 3 years. It's not an easy journey. I applied. The process took me 3 years. When I was even complaining, some people said you are lucky. Some people had spent 5 years trying to be a Notary Public. That's to tell you how important the position is. So it is not every lawyer that is a Notary Public. So any lawyer that you see is a Notary Public, please give the person extra respect, because it's not easy. Every document needs notarization. No, it's not every document that needs notarization. There are some specific documents that specifically calls for Notary Public, and then the ones that does not call for Notary Public, your lawyer would advise you whether it should be notarized or not. Or if you don't know, you ask a Notary Public, do I need to notarize this document? I've already listed the ones that should be notarized. A Notary Public guarantees the content of a document. No, it does not guarantee. So let me give an illustration. So you bring a deed of assignment to me. It is not my duty to understand the history of that property. It is the duty of the lawyer that drafted it to understand the history, because that's what you pay the lawyer for. You pay the lawyer for due diligence and to ensure that the property, actually, the document the person is drafting conveys, transfers ownership, legal ownership to you. It is not my duty to begin to ask, who sold the property? How did they sell it? Before you bought it, who was the forefather? My own duty is to authenticate execution. Authenticate that the person that sold the property is truly the owner. Authenticate that the person that bought it is actually the person that signed. Authenticate your signatures and then notarize it. So I cannot guarantee the content, whether it is false or true, but I can guarantee that the executors are true based on their presence before me, right? So a notarized document can never be challenged. It can be challenged. There is no document in the world that cannot be challenged. And I dare to say that at the point of challenge, the Notary Public might be dragged into it. Madam, you notarized this document, it has caused problem. Can you tell us, especially where there was an identity theft, a Notary Public can be called upon to say his or own side of the story. How did you notarize? Did you confirm the person's identity and the signature? Because the person that is before us now is different from the person that signed. Do you now see where the extra credibility comes in? So it can still be challenged, but it's hardly challenged because a Notary Public is expected to do a proper job. Practical tips to help you when you're going to meet a Notary Public, please go with your valid ID card. Bring the original document. Don't be like that person that came to my office this week and brought photocopy. We don't notarize photocopy except we are certifying a photocopy. There's a difference between I'm notarizing and I'm certifying a document, okay? Right? Don't sign first unless instructed. You are supposed to sign before me as a Notary Public, right? You ask questions where you don't understand, then confirm that the document requirement before visiting. So there's somebody that called me yesterday that wants to notarize a document. And I told the person, okay, come with this on Monday to the office. So it saves you time of back and forth, okay? So those are the few tips, and these tips is helpful whether you're coming to Notary Public Centre or not. Wherever you find yourself is highly helpful. So thank you for coming and attending our official launch of the Notary Public Centre by Livingspring Solicitors. And so this center is officially launched today, 1st August 2026, and we are looking forward to a great height when we are officially 1 year, 1st August 2027. So we look forward to becoming your trusted Notary Public Center. You could walk in, you can send your documents online, you could refer people to us. We are on social media, right? Whenever you need to draft, notarize, certify, or authenticate your important documents. Stay connected to us. Our office is at 4/6 Yaya Baton Road, Tomoloju Estate, opposite Excellence Hotel, Ogba, Ikeja, Lagos. So if you want to walk in, that's where our office is. If you want to send your document via WhatsApp, that's our WhatsApp number on the screen. Or you want to send it through the email, this is the email that we've dedicated to the Notary Public Center. You can find us on Instagram, Notary Public Center. Please follow us ASAP. Instagram and Facebook, Notary Public Center in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much for coming. It is officially time for questions. Do you have questions based on what we have discussed? It's time for questions. Thank you so much.